And welcome back to another special edition of the Michael Decon program, reporting to you live and direct from the wastelands of California. My name, in fact, is Michael, and I look forward to once again serve you those sounds of salvation. Joining us tonight is the return of Leo Zagami. He will join us all the way from Palm Springs, not far from where I am. He is an author and musician, respected contributor for InfoWars. Mike Hideous has also drawn assignment this evening. Oh yes, he's here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing me into your hearts and into your minds. Here we are again, on a night like this. It feels good to be back. As always, nice to see all of you out there this evening. Nice to see you in the chat room, of course. Always nice to see you in the chat room, of course. And of course, the listeners out there that tune in for the podcast rendition of this program. Love hearing all your feedback as well. I do hope you join us one of these evenings here live on YouTube. All you have to do is search Michael Decon. And yes, that's where you will find the YouTube channel. Now, without further ado, let's bring in the boys. I believe Mike and Leo are both ready to go. Mike, are you alive out there?
I'm alive. I don't know if Mike is.
We've got Leo. Mike, are you out there?
Sorry, here I am.
There he is. Mike, I'm so glad you are back and no one has taken you out with any painted rocks this evening.
Good night.
Thank God. Leo, welcome back to the program. Always an honor and pleasure. Well, it's a pleasure to have both of you here this evening. But Leo, of course, you live out there in Palm Springs, not far from where I am in El Centro.
How is the weather now at the moment there?
It's actually quite nice. It's not as hot, not with the slogan the city has taken to, which is where the sun spends the winter. Fortunately for me, Leo, it's not hot. It's actually quite cool for once. For once.
Well, I live in the desert, so I know what you mean. We have the perfect weather over here, though. Having said that.
That's right. And of course, you are now an American citizen, 100%, correct?
Well, I'm a green card holder. I will become an American citizen 100% in 2 years. So I have to patient because you have the routine that you have to follow for all these formalities. I already passed on the major test, which is the green card, and so I now.
Congratulations!
Oh yeah!
Thank you so much. Yes, and so I'm very glad to be on my process to citizenship.
Nice. And Mike, say hello to your fans out there, Mike.
Hello, my fans out there.
There you go.
So I'm going to be actually able to vote for the next elections, which is great. And so I'm going to be fully involved.
With that's exciting.
American way of life. And of course involved also with everything that is really meaningful for us at this time, which is to defend this great Constitution of the United States of America.
God bless you.
Very nice. And of course, Leo, for those that don't know, you are like a very respected researcher and of course a popular contributor to, or I should say for InfoWars rather, and you've come a long way. And I've told you this in the past, but Leo, for the longest time, you've always wanted to be here in America, and you were casted out basically out there in Italy, I believe.
Yeah, well, I was a few years in Norway, then I moved to Italy, which is, of course, the place where I was born. But after I published my books and I got involved with political activities, I got on the nerves of a few powerful people. So I guess that I needed to get out of there before they would get at me. And
Leo, you're being modest here. There was a bounty on your head.
Well, in Italy, definitely there's a bounty on my head. I don't care really because I'm on my way to full American citizenship, and I'm never gonna look back. what I think it's right to say is that this great nation has been made by people like me who had to flee Europe and other countries because they were persecuted. So I am glad to say that I'm one of those kind of immigrants that made this nation the great nation it is. Unfortunately, these days, people just come through the border, 11 million, how many? They just get granted citizenship out of thin air. That is very unpleasant for people like me who have to work for many years and make many sacrifices to get to where we are now, so where I am now. So,
and Leo, looking with you more.
Oh, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
No. Go on, Michael. It's all right.
I was just going to quickly mention, Leo, looking back in your life growing up, you know, you had this sort of, and I don't mean to offend you, I'm not calling them crazy, but I mean your situation and being a part of the family that you are a part of, Leo. Do you think that was crazy at all?
It wasn't crazy for the immigration authorities and granted the citizenship when actually they came up with some details. I will not bring everything on air because obviously, but let's say that was the most unusual interview probably to date for somebody who is applying for citizenship. And it included things like Illuminati lodges and whatnot.
Wow.
Right. And of course, Mike, you don't know this, but Leo is also a musician. He's a DJ, or was a DJ, and he was...
I remember the DJ.
Young age. I guess now I'm 50. I'm a bit out of fiction in the sense that I prefer to go another way. And also I'm very glad to have not followed this career up to where I am now, because nowadays clubs are all closed and my colleagues are not even capable of doing the job they used to. So, I mean, what's next for people in the club business is probably to take the vaccine or take some kind of microchip or God knows what. It seems like, unfortunately, they are imposing that kind of thing first to the people who are actually offering entertainment. And so that's pretty disturbing. So in the near future, probably people will be forced to take the vaccine if they want to attend concerts, they want to go to even to restaurants or anything like that. I mean, now in certain places like Israel, for example, you have a big problem because people can't even go to the supermarket any longer without having received the vaccine. So there is a sort of imposition which started even in a smaller state like the Vatican, who a couple of days ago came up with the imposition for older workers to receive the vaccine. And that means that if even if you are a woman and you are pregnant, you have to take this vaccine that, as we know, is very dangerous for pregnant women, whatever the vaccine might be. So I think that we are assisting to a gradual implementation. I hope that here in the US we are enough people able to resist this way of life, which is, of course, the product of the New World Order in the last phase of the New World Order, which is the most delicate and the most dangerous.
Are you telling me you're not going to get the vaccine, Leo?
No, I actually was forced because of the citizenship application to get a couple of vaccines, but not this one in specific.
Not that one, okay.
I was forced to get a measles one, though, that actually now it's said to be working even for people with, to be protecting people from COVID-19, which is a very good news because at least I was forced to get this vaccine. At least I get a benefit from it, if there is a benefit. I don't know. I think that instead the RNA style vaccine, which goes and messes a little bit with your DNA, it's definitely something that you want to avoid. But of course, then who am I to say that? I'm not a doctor, and if I even say that, I can get in trouble these days with the Orwellian state that presides over social media and even on YouTube. So certain things need to be always addressed very carefully. I had, as you know, and I told you before we went on the show, in the last few months, all my YouTube channels in the English language removed from the internet. I started with my main channel, which was the Leo Lion Zagami channel, which I had a lot of material, 500 videos. I had carried on for a few years, almost 10 years. And that was just lost from one day to another. And then they went after my wife's YouTube, and I tried to reopen another 3 different accounts in the English language, and they got removed one after the other. Now,
Congratulations.
well,
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I'm now being removed also from Instagram already. 2019, I was removed from Instagram only because I was from the InfoWars crew. They removed me, and then I had Twitter logging me out, Periscope logged me out with Twitter, and
how racist of them.
And then I was closed down on Facebook. My main Facebook profile was closed down, the actual official one. Now the one that is left is quite interesting, because to be able to obtain the permission to stay on Facebook, I had to receive a physical letter sent by Facebook headquarters to my home address here in Palm Springs.
I don't know about all that. You shouldn't have to go through that process, Leo.
Well, unfortunately, it was the only way I could remain. Otherwise, I was banned forever. And unfortunately, I still need, to some extent, Facebook, especially for family contacts and things that I keep on there, that are rather difficult to move on other platforms. Of course, I was upset. Of course, I mean, the fact that I had to receive a code to my address, I had to activate it and then be located through this. I don't have anything to hide, to tell you the truth. So, I mean, I'm not worried at all regarding. It was rather strange, though, that they removed the official profile, which I actually verified with documentations and everything already 2 or 3 years ago when they asked me. Though I didn't give the address, but they asked to verify my. This time they did it, justifying it, saying that I do a sensitive kind of work. I'm a journalist, that I touch on the realms of politics and the social, and that for that reason I had to have this kind of official Facebook account.
Understood. And we're going to jump right back into Facebook and Australia, what they are going through right now in terms of the lockdown and the protesting that's going on. But Leo, before we get to that, we do have a phone call, and this gentleman, I think it's a guy, they've been on hold for a while. Let's bring him in. Whoa, that was strange. I heard bit of a weird effect there on my voice. That was awesome. Caller, what's going on? How are you? Caller, are you alive out there?
Seems like a caller has disappeared.
Oh,
Hello?
there he is. He's back.
He's back.
Caller, what's up? How are you?
Yes. Hello.
What's up, brother?
Mr. Decon, how are you?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Yes, I am very good, sir. Thank you. Very nice talking to you again. Very exciting show today with Mr. Leo Zagami. A very good fan. I know him, actually. And I also know your other guest, Mr. Hideous Michael.
Oh, my.
Wow.
Mike Hideous, yes. This is Anthony Marr, the guitar player in Panama.
A stalker.
Are you stalking Mike here? Is that what's going on?
No, I'm listening to the show. I actually met Leo in Italy, in Italia. Io parlo italiano.
Oh, shit.
I think he does too.
Ah, ok. Quindi ci siamo incontrati in Italia. Quanto tempo fa?
We met at a Berlusconi. We sacrificed a virgin, and we were drinking some blood.
And completely untrue, because I never hanged out with
we were having a good time.
Good Lord.
Of course, it seems like our friend is very much into the comedy.
Of course, she was a virgin. A virgin. Like we say.
Leo, you weren't sacrificing any virgins.
Probable, I think. I think there would be nearly impossible.
With Leo, yes.
My goodness, Leo, I had no idea.
Hiding down here, and well, Leo, if you need an apartment, let me know. Okay. You need to hide somewhere like really,
What is your
really
question?
down low, you know?
Yes, what do you got for us tonight, my friend?
My question.
Let it rip.
But nothing. My question, Leo, what do you think about the Bitcoin situation?
Okay, Bitcoin situation, you see, up
Bitcoin.
until, let's say, a year ago, I was an advocate of cryptocurrency. Then a year ago, exactly, more or less, well, I think more or less a year ago, it came into the equation this unfortunate patent that was made by Microsoft regarding the human body being used as a depository for cryptocurrency. And at that point, I started to study the situation, and though I had never really indulged too much in cryptocurrency, in the last few months of 2019, I just indulged a little bit to more or less to pick up on what I lost, because in the past I had many possibilities to start becoming a Bitcoin miner from the very early days, and I refused. And I'm talking the very early days when Bitcoin cost $5 or $3. And then I went into it. I could have kept what I mined, and I could have actually made some profit. But in the end, with my wife, we rather decided to leave the whole thing because of ethical reasons, not because of convenience. Out of convenience, maybe one should have left his investments, and maybe we would have gained some money out of them. But as I said, the ethic and the moral of the 060606 patent of Microsoft, so saying Microsoft is like saying Bill Gates, is basically connected to the mark of the beast. And
Sorry, I found that incredibly funny.
Right, but you think that it's too late to get into the mining business?
That's also a
mining business at 60,000 for one Bitcoin is completely idiotic. I mean, if you had to get into Bitcoin, you should have got into Bitcoin when it was a year ago.
Yes.
The crisis initial phase, it went down under the $5,000, and then at that point it was convenient to actually get some Bitcoin. Even at 10,000 was still convenient if you see it with, of course, the developments after the Elon Musk investment. But as I said, I made an ethical decision here. Some people might laugh, some people might not agree. It's definitely not good for my pocket, but it's good for what I'm doing as a human being, because I believe in my mission. And I believe to be coherent with what I write in my books.
Right. That's a very good question, by the way, from the caller originally there. But yes, caller, go ahead.
Sorry, Michael.
It's okay.
Just one last question here. The legality of it. I mean, when I was in college in New York, a bunch of kids started mining Bitcoins, and you know, the IRS knocked on their door, and they actually had to do some jail time. So what is the status of that now? And is it Bitcoin getting connected with PayPal and all that? And
I mean definitely Bitcoin is not anymore the kind of cryptocurrency which you can leave out of the international banking system. And so for that reason, it's going to gradually become less and less anonymous. So it's definitely not the convenient source of income that you can just pick up out of a hard disk and put into circulation. Of course, still nowadays, maybe some people can do that, but it's going to become more and more a sort of official commodity that doesn't have those privacy, that kind of privacy and anonymity. Of course, we also know that there is other kind of cryptos that might guarantee more anonymity in the future, but we are also seeing the yuan in China becoming a digital blockchain currency, and the same for the ruble in Russia. That means a normalization of the digital currency, which is in itself a system that is implemented in the next 9 years to please the cyber Satan, which I've talked about in volume 666 of my Confessions, which basically it's implementing the mark of the beast. Here we're talking with an end-of-time scenario that people should take very seriously, because we are in front of a never-ending series of lockdowns, a never-ending series of mutations of a virus created in a lab in Wuhan, and also new viruses that will pop up in the near future that are even more deadly.
That's right.
On top of that, we will have a mini ice age, which has already started and has manifested in Texas, which they are selling us as a green, something to do with the climate change. It's not the case. It's a mini ice age, and it will carry on for 200 years. And then on top of all this, we have in 2029 an asteroid which is going to miss Earth by very little, and is going to send all the satellites to hell. So
there's some good news then.
In the next 10 years, we are facing some major catastrophes, and humankind is going to face changes that are unprecedented. And for that reason, they are also trying, the elite, to build up as fast as possible this emergency base on the moon and then for Mars.
My goodness. Caller, I hope that answered your question there.
That did. I think, just on the last note here, I think any type of cryptocurrency, the U.S. government is going to find a way to tax it somehow.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no way that they're going to allow that.
Already this year, if you are, I don't have any more crypto, fortunately, but if from this year is obligatory already here in the state of California to declare your cryptos.
By the way, Lilith in the chat is saying PayPal has 4 cryptos available. To be honest with you, I would stay away from crypto from PayPal. I don't trust them.
Yeah.
But well, I don't trust PayPal. PayPal has closed down 3 different accounts. I'm at my 4th.
Yeah. Stay away from that. I would suggest not through PayPal.
Absolutely. No. Well, I mean, I never actually got anything to do with the crypto PayPal, because, as I said, I got out of crypto before I was even a U.S. citizen, permanent citizen here. And I did it also to not have any problems in the future, because I knew exactly that the IRS sooner or later will. But in fact, when I went last year with my wife for her tax declaration, and this year I'm going to do my own, because now I am a citizen in a way. Even if I'm not a full citizen, I'm a green card holder, which is considered a permanent resident, so you are paying tax here in the United States of America. Well, there is an obligation now. You have to declare your cryptos. I don't know if it's the same for every state, but for California, you have to declare your cryptos. And already last year, they were telling you that next year you will have to start declaring your cryptos.
My God. Well, thanks for the call, by the way, caller.
Take care, Tony.
Take care, brother.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Mike.
Mahalo. And there he goes. That was Tony. Thanks for the call. And yes, going back to what we were mentioning earlier, that will sort of bring us full circle here. We were talking about Facebook and Australia. And for those that have been keeping up, Facebook banned a lot of content coming out of Australia, by the way. For those that don't know. And
well, in Australia, you mean regarding the Facebook ban, is mainly an issue that I think is going to touch gradually also other places around the world, which is concerning the fact that Facebook filters editorial content from various news sources. And so now they are acting really like themselves, like some kind of editors of these news sources. And what is happening is also there is an implementation of copyright rules, which is also restricting more and more this social network, because they seem to be wanting to get in some way Facebook to pay some dividends to these news companies. It is a very complex matter, though. It is a very complex matter, because it touches with the privacy of the individual. At the same time, in this case, it touches also with the interests of a lot of news companies that these days they are trying to survive in the era of the internet, and not all of them are managing to filter their message, because Facebook really acts as a very selective chooser of what you can publish or not only as a private citizen, but also at an editorial level.
Right. And of course, lots of protesting going on, by the way, out there in Australia. Lots of people are very much against the vaccine.
Yes, but Facebook censors anything to do with vaccine, like they simply censored anything to do with the protest that was ongoing in the farms in India. Because then the Indian government, they were starting to get upset. And so then, you start to, but then when you go and check everything, you go and see that in reality here the situation is because the monopoly of Silicon Valley is starting to really aggressively get into the news business. That, I think, is really why all this is happening.
Here's a very short clip we'll play.
Victorian taxpayers are $20 million out of pocket because the government is yet to bill returned travellers for their stays in hotel quarantine. And while Australia is less than 48 hours away from the COVID vaccine rollout, thousands have taken to the streets across the country to protest against it.
The protests were supposed to be peaceful. But in Melbourne, it descended into chaos. Multiple protesters were arrested as hundreds of officers on foot and horseback battled to control the angry mob. Sydney's rally was calm.
Hey, my body, my choice.
It featured celebrity...
My body, my choice. Yeah, they were chanting that.
Okay, I want to apologize because
yes, sir, go ahead.
Of course, not regarding the US technology companies, but regarding really the fact that a lot of people are getting upset around the world. And like Australia, we have, of course, the fact that Facebook is censoring every news regarding the sanitary dictatorship. But regarding this actual event in Australia, there has been similar events in the Netherlands. There's been similar events in Austria in the last few weeks.
In Harlem.
In Ireland, in Great Britain. And so it seems like more and more people are getting upset. So what is the solution of the New World Order? Well, they already have a plan. And if you want, I can tell you what is this plan for the next few months.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Leo. Tell us.
Well, the plan is to promote a sort of sudden herd immunity from April onwards to get the businesses, especially for the tourists and everything, to retake a little bit of a breath of air and not go completely bankrupt. But then around the fall, they will come in again with the fact that there is a variant like the Brazilian or the South African, or even a mix of variants. Now the South African and the Californian seem to have been put together in a way. But in any case, what they're going to do is this. They're going to promote the fact that we are going back to normality before what was expected. So they will start to promote that this summer is going to be an open summer. That things are going to be great this summer. You're going to start to see the left-wing media promote this idea. And even if it goes against anything that they have said until up to a couple of weeks ago, even Dr. Fauci, but the thing is that they will promote this idea of herd immunity to get the people to go back out, to travel again, but then they will force later on another and more aggressive stand with more lockdowns in the phase that will follow up with the variant that will demand also a booster to the vaccine. So we are the Bill Gates had announced a week ago the fact that there should be a booster, a third dose, and now we have had a couple of days ago the confirmation by the head of Moderna that has said that a booster that will work for these variants is being built now. But I spoke with Dr. Paul Cottrell, who I conduce a weekly show with this morning, and I asked him what he thought of this booster, and he himself wasn't really convinced that you can work with something that has been created for the original version of this of this virus. And at the same time, we have confirmation, of course, in the last few days, once again, that this virus is of an artificial nature that comes out, that it came out of a laboratory with the doctors, the Dr. She, the woman, the Batwoman, as
Yes.
they call it. And so I think that we are in front of a great scam, also because you see, most of the governments have understood the lockdowns don't work. But the problem now, in the next few months, is to get things back to normality without admitting that they failed. So this is also another possibility why they're going to start aggressively promoting the fact that the herd immunity has been reached by April and that we can all go back and doing our business, because they have realized through a series of studies that are popping up all over the place that the lockdowns simply don't work. So they can't tell you, oh, we have failed, we are a bunch of idiots, we locked down half of the world, and actually we sent bankrupt a lot of businesses. They can't say that because they will be sued. So they're gonna create this alternative, saying, oh yes, now people can go out, and now there is the herd immunity, this and that.
Understood. Yes, I did see those headlines, by the way, Leo.
Huh?
I did see those headlines myself. They were asking, when will life go back to normal? And Fauci said something about 2022 is when you can sort of expect things to sort of go back to the way they used to be.
The thing is, you don't understand, the things will never go back to normal. They already have another virus that is popping up from Malaysia that is 75 times more dangerous than the coronavirus. That will be the next big thing once this is finished.
Are you talking about the Nifa virus?
Yes, of course, the Nifa virus. And then, as I said, this is only the beginning, because the Great Reset.
Jesus
what does
Christ.
Great Reset really means? Great Reset means great re is king in Italian. Re is king. So great re, great king, set, Satan, Kronos, set. So great King Satan, this is the Great Reset. Take it or leave it, you have 9 years to take it.
And by the way, you talked about, in your book, you talked about the age of cyber Satan. And
Yes.
We have been sort of ushered into this sort of online sort of world. We are bowing down to the cyber gods in a way.
Absolutely, and from next year, Apple will start implementing these new kinds of phones that will become more and more popular. At the moment, this kind of phone that you put over the eyes is not really that popular, but the actual model that with augmented reality and the whole show that Apple is gonna start making available next year is gonna probably set the standard for the future. And what is this standard? Well, it's a standard that will isolate the young generations from the older ones, because they're gonna simply put themselves, they will cover their eyes with this new technology, and they will go around probably all the time filtering the reality with this augmented reality, which is a digital filter of the reality.
Right. And of course, this all is a part of smart cities.
Smart cities as part of the plan. The satanic plan includes everything that, as I said, is smart. So if you have a smartphone, it's a satanic phone. If you have a smart house, it's a satanic house. If you
Amazing.
have anything that is remotely smart, it's not smart at all. That's why people who are in a smart house start to have voices, temperatures changing and hacking. It's now a regular event, even in cars. So, I mean, if you want to have a smart car, well, then you are on your way to a smart city and you can go to hell.
And Leo, there was a question for you here in the chat room. I was trying to find it, but now it's lost. Lost in the mix. Sad. But yeah, I did want you to answer this question for one of the listeners out there, but now I cannot find it. Oh well. We'll keep moving forward here. That's all right. And by the way, somebody wanted to know, Amanda in the chat wanted to know, what's the name of the next virus? That's the Nifa virus.
And there is also a bubonic plague,
or Nipah, whichever you want to call it,
explosion in the last few days in Africa that might also become a big one on the map.
Right. So this Nifa virus is, like you said, it's 75 times more deadlier than the coronavirus, and for some odd reason, there's a lot of brain swelling that goes on with this virus. So, Mike, I'm sure you are happy to hear that.
Yeah, I'm always up for hearing such positive news.
Yes, severe.
There is no positive news in the time.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
I'm being sarcastic.
No, well, but I mean, we are living really in the end times. I mean, when you calculate
No doubt.
the asteroid in 2029 is called Apophis. Now, do you know who is Apophis? It's one of the most evil gods of ancient Egypt, together with Set. Apophis is the god of chaos.
Shiva.
It's, well, we can say also very similar to Choronzon of the Crowley. Crowley's fixation with Choronzon brought him into the middle of the desert to open the gates of hell. It's definitely unusual that they have given this name, and they have also, I think, given a number which is 9999, so 3 nines followed by 42, but in particular 999, it's 9999 is a number that reverses 666, and that you both put 18 is 8 and 1 is 9, as well as 2 and 7 is 9. So these two then combined make once again 18, which is 666. This is a demonic number. So the arrival or passage of this, but by the way, it's not only passing in 2029, but it's passing later, I think even in 2036 and later 3 times. But the near miss of 2029 will already bring enough damage to the planet, and a planet that by 2029 will be relying even more on the satellites to control the navigation.
That's right.
Of a lot of artificial intelligence cars and so on.
And once that goes on, we are screwed. You know, I'm not very technologically sound. So, you know, for someone like myself, once that power goes off, I'm in a world of hurt.
Well, that's bad. You should never be in a big city. You should be like I am, on the edge of the desert. You should avoid the future smart cities, which basically at the moment are being ruined by the left, because they are trying to destroy the very nature of this city and the economy of this city, so they can take them over and transform them in smart cities. That's been done in New York, it's been done in Los Angeles, it's been done in San Francisco, which literally at the moment are full of poop, and that in the future will be transformed in smart cities, and that's why they're doing all this. You have a bunch of homeless people that are tolerated and that are ruining once glorious areas of great cities, but there is a plan for that. It's not, and Governor Newsom can be recalled, but of course here we're talking about a big mafia that is operating not only in California but all over the United States, because what has happened here is happening in Austin, Texas, is happening in many other cities around the U.S. that are headed by the Democrats.
I'm glad you mentioned Texas, by the way. They are just getting demolished out there right now.
I'm really upset with the fact that nobody up until now has yet called up, understood the concept that we are not in front of any kind of event. For years, you just go and Google 2021 mini ice age, and you will see the research that has been put forward by astrophysicists and many other people for years regarding the solar cycles and then the possibility of this coming mini ice age, which already was in place between the 13th and the 15th and went on actually until the 19th century. We had a period in which the Thames River was iced in London. We had a period in which the Hudson River was basically used as a fridge for people who were who were living next to it. The world has had these occurring ice age cycles, and now they are using it to instead unleash their new Green Deal, which is a bunch of nonsense, which serves the purpose simply of making people poor, because they need to do the great reset, which means taking over all the private property. And at that point, you are just a human being who has nothing and who lives off the state, and you are basically at the beck and call of the state.
You're against the Green Deal? That's racist.
Well, yes, I am very resistant.
My goodness. But yes,
things are pretty messed up.
Yeah, things are very odd right now, Leo, and I'm afraid to ask this next question, but where do you see America in the next 5 years, Leo?
Fantastic. I mean, I'm here for a reason. America is the beacon of hope for the rest of the planet. Of course, America, as we know it now, might not be any longer for much longer, depending on what happens in the political arena. The resistance of those millions of people who have backed Donald J. Trump might still be able to stop the New World Order from completely taking over the show. But let's remember that this is a global plan for world domination and of one world government. The Chinese are, of course, working hand in hand with the Jesuits, with China. They have been doing it for a long time. I talk about the link between the Jesuits and China that goes on for hundreds of years in my book, Volume 4, My Confessions. And we have also the Sabbatean Frankist element also, that is a very important element in this new world order. But the thing is that America is the resistance to this new world order. It is the only country still that has millions of citizens who bear weapons. We have the First and the Second Amendment, and these two amendments are fundamental for the rest of the Constitution to be carried on. And now instead they are both really being jeopardized by the way that the Democrats are upholding their own rights, and they are taking over the show. I mean, maybe fraudulently, maybe not. I hope that really the Americans realize, though, that even if they have voted for this change because they didn't like Donald J. Trump, they have put themselves in a very bad situation. And there is at risk the American way of life. I mean, the Ocasio-Cortez of the situation, who now in the last few hours has done, of course, this propaganda stunt of putting together a few millions for the Texans. It is a propaganda stunt. It's a very clever one, I guess. The Republicans have not been clever enough. Ted Cruz has failed miserably by going down to Cancun, even if he immediately understood his mistake. And now we are with, of course, a president that has been beaten up by the media for 4 years, but in the end, it was not only the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, who was beaten up, but the whole of all his followers who voted for him. The moment in which they put together this big, this mega psyop that led to the 6th of January, you see, QAnon, the QAnon movement was all part of this psyop. And the people, unfortunately, failed to realize that there was, for years, infiltrators of the FBI inside the militia groups, inside the groups like the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, 3%ers. And at the right moment, they all got triggered, and all at the same time ended up with, of course, it's not many people if you count all the millions that follow Trump,
yeah.
And also the million people that joined probably Trump in Washington. Is only a few hundred people, but they managed to create something that is, of course, criminal, and that gives the enemy the possibility to implement all these restrictions and the persecution of all the conservatives. It was a trap. It was a trap. Even Alex Jones has admitted he fell for this trap. Personally, I warned everybody at the end of the year on InfoWars that the January will be the month in which everybody will have to face the reality of things, not the never-ending rubbish of bullshit by people like, sorry if I say that, by people
That's
like
right.
Steve Pisnick or Dr. Jerome Corsi or Robert David Steele and all these intelligence, these informants that unfortunately flood the internet with BS.
I'm glad you said that, because I've been quite vocal about him myself.
I mean, it's not one. It's a whole
Well,
line.
there's a lot,
of them.
yes.
There's a whole group of them, and they are all professional disinformants.
Yeah, I'm just a lot of their claims are just so ridiculous that I cannot believe a word they say, my friend.
But I've proven that what I say is fact. I wrote that the virus will arrive in 2020, in 2015, published, I mean, even before, in the volume 2 of my confessions, published in 2015. You open and you see 2020 will be the year you will be locked up because of a virus. I mean, and that is a fact. So people get judged by what they actually, the predictions, when they come into fruition. It seems that these people make one prediction after another that doesn't come into fruition, and still they get more credibility than the Leo Zagami, because Leo Zagami is censored all over the place. But if you listen to Leo Zagami from the moment I joined the internet with my exposure project in 2006 to now, and even before, for those people who, of course, knew me inside in a more private setups on the internet, they all knew that I have always forecasted what is happening.
Yes, and by the way, you mentioned Alex Jones. What's going on with InfoWars and Alex? Is he doing okay?
Doing great, but of course, we are in a situation in which Texas is in great difficulty, and Texas is gradually becoming less and less friendly with non-democrats, with non-leftists. It's becoming more and more a blue state, and that is it's a big problem, I think, even for Alex in the long term. I will probably see Alex moving to Florida, maybe, and having a more successful his initiative than now in Austin. Of course, after this failing of the windmills and all their green technology, maybe the Texans are going to finally realize that they have to really consider the Democrats as an enemy, and all their policies as completely outrageous and dangerous. Because imagine this, we are going towards a mini ice age, and these people are talking about a new Green Deal and about working along the lines of California, which has been a state which I live in, but unfortunately is a state that fails miserably because over and over again the electricity goes down. Not here. I'm lucky. I chose this place very carefully. I know exactly where I live. I live in front of a big windmill farm. But here we're not in Texas. Here I'm in the desert.
By the way, in Texas, Leo, I just got to jump in there really quickly and throw this at you. In Texas, the ones who got their power cut off were amongst the poorest amongst anyone in these cities.
The ones who kept it on, they receive bills now up until they spent $2,000 for a megawatt. I mean, they ended up spending $17,000.
One guy did, yes.
Electricity. Of course, you can keep the electricity going, but the demand for electricity and the supply was so limited that they started to skyrocket up with the prices in a way that I think is completely criminal.
I'd be pissed off if I had a $17,000 bill for electricity, that's for sure. It's not like I'm growing pot in the house.
I mean, I think that Texas has a great future, having said that. But you see, they're trying to make Texas join this new Green Deal ideal. And they're going to use this accident, this accident that, of course, is due. Was due for a long time because they announced it. Everybody knew what was happening. And as I said, just go and Google 2021 mini ice age. We have been talking for ages about it. So everybody also knew that there would be this big snowstorm. It was announced for 3-4 weeks. Everybody knew. So the failure is being built so they can then increment the promotion of the Green New Deal. They can say, oh, yes, you see, you have suffered so much, and the fault is all of the people who are using carbon fossil fuels, and we should implement a more green strategy. Or maybe, yes, the wind turbines, let's put some grease on them or something that can protect them from the snow the next time. They're going to come up with some BS. But in any case, I hope that the Texans don't buy into all this. They reject completely all this nonsense, and they go back to be proud Texans that use their rich oil reserves and gas reserves to first of all service their own people, because that, I think that what is happening now demonstrates that something of a primary, you see, in a society like America, but in the Western world, we shouldn't have problems with electricity. We're not in a third world country. If the free market has generated this kind of situation, where maybe it's time to renationalize a few things. And I noticed one thing, that the leftists are talking about a lot of rubbish, and they have all these communistic ideas. But why don't go then back to nationalization of certain electricity grids? And they're not proposing that. But if we go back into the tradition of socialism and communism, that should be one of their propositions immediately, no? Instead, no, because they're not really leftists. They are simply slaves of a system, puppets of a system, or puppeteers of a system which has no moral and no ethics. They simply want to make more and more money, and they don't care if the people suffer.
Yeah, and I think Mike agrees with you too.
1,000%, absolutely. I've begun to see so much dark stuff going on in the governments. It's just driving me crazy.
Oh yeah, it's a hard time for everyone at a certain point. And by the way, you mentioned Cruz, and of course, for those that don't know, I'm sure most of you do know, Ted Cruz getting a lot of heat for leaving Texas for Cancun, by the way. Always nice in Cancun.
I mean, he can go wherever he wants. The problem is that he is a lawmaker, comes from Texas, and should be in Texas in the times of need.
So you think that was a bad look for Ted Cruz, in other words? That was a bad look for Ted Cruz, in other words.
It's not a question you want to listen to your wife saying, bring the children to somewhere warm because here it's so cold, there's no electricity. If you have to understand, I come from a family that has lived the politics directly.
Yes,
my grandfather was a senator. My grandfather was close to the people 24 hours a day. If the people, once a week, he will go into a coffee place in Messina. He will meet directly the people to ask him questions and to ask him maybe favors or to bring him problems that he could solve. That is a politician. Is somebody who is with his own people and listening to his own people. So I agree with the people like Alex, for example, who is very angry with Cruz and many others.
Oh, yes.
I think that he has failed. And when he went on, I think it was Hannity, he came up immediately, fortunately, with the truth regarding the fact that he was meant to go back today and not immediately. Also because apparently his ticket was in some way, the privacy around his ticket reservation was leaked. And there is actually an investigation ongoing by American, I think it's American Airlines, I don't know, on this whole thing. So that's what I mean. He has done a brutta figura, as they say in Italy, a very bad...
How do you say that again? Say that word again.
Brutta figura, which means you have
brutta figura
that has portrayed you in the wrong manner.
I think I tried to say it, but I don't think I said it right. I tried. But yes, parents demand enforcement of quarantine rules that will keep the senator's children out of class. So yeah, the parents are pissed off at Ted Cruz. A lot of people out there are very angry with Ted Cruz. In the chat room, CM5891 says, "The Cruz man being a savage. I think it was an alpha move, Michael. You can appreciate another alpha, right?" So basically what this gentleman in the chat room is saying is that him going out there, throwing his balls out there, he's not really giving too much of a shit if people like it or not. That's what the guy is basically saying to us, Leo.
No, I mean, he is apologizing. He said, I think, to Hannity, he said also to, I mean, he's been now, since the events have turned against him, he has been a lot on TV making statements. In some interviews, he has been avoiding the question. That was annoying. But fortunately, he came down to the conclusion that he had to be honest with the fact that he failed. And I think that in the next few days, he should be even more honest and probably apologize publicly, because it's a failure, it's a complete failure towards his constituents.
And Mike, your thoughts and opinions on this. Was this a good look from Senator Cruz going out to Cancun to live it up while his fellow Texans lived in shit?
I gotta be honest, I don't know what the date is on that and how the weather coincided with his going away. So I don't have a comment unless I know what the dates were that he went.
No, well, it's not a question of date. It's actually when the crisis already had started. And plus, on top of that, Ted Cruz admitted that he was made privy to knowledge by meteorologists that there will be this crisis. But he actually left when the crisis already started.
Interesting.
Very interesting. But yes, lots of demonstrators. They actually stood in front of his home, by the way.
The thing is that, you see, both the governor and Ted Cruz, the governor, who is himself a Republican, also failed. I mean, he knew for about 3 weeks of this imminent catastrophe. And they simply haven't managed to get this thing going, because there is, there is not really a grip on this market. You see, you have to understand that the electric market has been this way for a long time, and has been taking profits without investing in new lines. Here in California, for example, the fact that a lot of you have the electricity high tension, how you say, lines that are under the ground, and then you have the ones over the ground, which are the ones that usually trigger fires.
Right.
But in Texas, they should also renew a lot of the electrical system, which is really from a bygone era, from what I heard. And I'm telling you, because my family in Italy is a family, one of the few families, my cousins have one of the few private electricity companies in Italy, because most of Italy is under Enel, which is the national. And then you have, they simply have, for the Aeolian Islands, which are in front of Sicily, they have this, the Enel never wanted to get on those islands because it was too complex for them to create a generator of electricity. So they preferred, my family, to keep on with this business, which was started by the brother of my grandfather. But anyway, electricity is a very serious business. There, for example, in the Aeolian Islands, I asked my family, why don't you put the windmills? Because, of course, the Aeolian Islands are famous all over the world for the wind. They're called Aeolian Islands. It was the god of the winds.
Right.
So I said, why don't you put the... But the thing is, they said, listen, the investments are so high, and we are unfortunately going to continue to use oil. And it's expensive, but it's just too expensive to do something else, with all the risk that, of course, are in places like Sicily, where you have earthquakes and so on, that might then trigger some disasters. And there are, of course, a great cost in constructing those windmills. They cost a lot of money, especially if they are in the middle of the sea. I always remember the first time I saw them when I was landing, I think somewhere in Scandinavia. I don't know if it was Stockholm or if it was Copenhagen, somewhere, and they had these big windmills in the sea. I was like, wow. But it is definitely a very expensive endeavor. And once they stop generating electricity, because they have a date in which they will finally end up their work, they are very difficult also to substitute, and it costs a lot of money. And that was also one of the things that even Donald J. Trump said during, I think he said that a while ago regarding the windmills, that they generate electricity, but they create damage to the nature because they kill a lot of birds. I mean, Of course, here we are. I have a windmill farm which is in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, there's some big-ass windmills out here.
Yeah, big ones.
Giant ones.
Here in front of Palm Springs, there's a bunch of them.
Oh, yes.
But imagine how many birds it kills.
A lot, yeah.
A lot. Fortunately, probably here now, the birds must have. I go past and I see that the birds maybe have got the drift that it's not so cool to fly next to them. But still, I mean, they create an environmental threat, but of course here, as I repeat, we are in California. We are blessed by the sun.
That's right.
And we should be able to, in some way, especially here towards the desert, have a different impact with this mini ice age approaching. Don't take lightly this mini ice age. It's not a joke. They might cover it up with all this nonsense about the climate change. They're going to be covering it up only for a little while, because at one point, when the mini ice age in 10 years from now is going to be coming in stronger, they will not be able to keep on with their lives. But they are figuring out that by then, people will have fallen into the trap. They will have given everything they had for the new Green Deal, the Green New Deal, however you want to call it. And at that point, by 2030, nobody will be able to rebel anymore.
Hopefully by then, well, let's not say hopefully, but the chances of an EMP going off are always a thought in my mind. As you know, Leo, there's 104 nuclear reactors, and of course there's one here in California, not far from me and you.
Yeah, but regarding the nuclear reactors, there is already a plan to pass them on to a new project which Bill Gates is putting together, which is he has created some kind of way that he has presented to the people last week during his 60 Minutes interview, in which he can actually profit of the nuclear power without the threat of generating the electricity with dangerous means. So it seems like Bill Gates is really working on many different fronts, including probably wanting to take over the nuclear reactors.
My goodness. And by the way, Lilith in the chat room says, what does Leo think of Governor Cuomo?
See, Governor Cuomo, like Newsom, they are two crooks. Maybe that's why they are. One is Italo-American, the other one, Newsom, also in a way, because he's related to Nancy Pelosi, so I don't know well but they are, of course, both related to this Italo-American mafia. It's Cosa Nostra. And they have been able to build here in the United States, especially in the state of New York and in the state of California, some very strong elites that went from the classic, or for example, in Chicago, you used to have Al Capone, but those are the old days of the mob. The mob went into white-collar mafia a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they became basically legit. They became legitimate. And that's why they sent their kids to schools, to the best university. They made them, of course, run in the political arena and watch Nancy Pelosi.
That's almost like Bin Laden's family here in America too. They got all kinds of privileges here.
Yeah, but here, when you talk about Nancy Pelosi, you're talking about mob. You're talking about the Gambinos. Talking about the Gambino. I mean, remember that when 3 years ago, one Gambino guy got arrested. Nancy Pelosi took the plane. She was in Italy a week after.
Yeah, that Nancy Pelosi, she is a succubus.
I think it was 2 years ago, yes. I mean, I was shocked because suddenly I see this news. I came here, I think I was already here, and suddenly I saw this news. I saw, the Gambino arrested in Sicily, blah, blah, blah. This Gambino clan connected to the Gambinos in America. And suddenly, 10 days later, I see that Nancy Pelosi is visiting Italy.
Right. By the way, Leo, I hate to bring him up, but the name Benjamin Fulford just came to my mind.
Benjamin Fulford is a guy who...
Yeah, when's the last time you talked to him, by the way?
many years ago.
Many years?
Because the guy works with China. And when he admitted that he works with the Chinese, I don't have anything to say to the guy. I mean, I wrote a couple of books with him.
Yes.
I knew that he was initiated into Chinese Freemasonry, the Hongmen, which, by the way, the Tiandui has their headquarters, worldwide headquarters in San Francisco, and it's linked to the Democratic Party.
Oh, shit.
I didn't know. Yeah, I mean, you just go and Google. Shrimp Boy, who was one of the main representatives, it was the Grand Master of the Chinese Freemasons, the World Union of Chinese Freemasons in San Francisco. They have this lodge there, a Grand Lodge. And then Shrimp Boy was arrested with the number 2 of the Democratic Party, but something like 5 years ago, I think it happened, not so long ago. And it was a big scandal. And this guy basically demonstrated once again the connections that the Democrats have with China, which are not only at an intelligence level with Fartwell there, Swalwell, whatever his name is, Swalwell and he's a Chinese spy, or that other woman who had the Chinese driver, Feinstein, what's her name? All these Democrats are connected with China. California has sold out to China. The problem with California is that here there is one of the oldest Chinese communities also in the world, I guess, because, I mean, you have them in England, but here they have been around forever because they were building the rail lines. Now they are very well integrated, of course, but they still have connections with China, and they work with the Chinese Communist Party. Now, if you go and study how the Chinese Communist Party interacts with Chinese Freemasonry, you will see that they use them for their diplomatic skills. And the Chinese Freemasonry is not like Western Freemasonry. It doesn't have anything to do with Western Freemasonry. They only grab the symbols, like they steal everything else in Chinese culture from the West. But they inserted them on pre-existing secret societies that have been there for a very long time. Now, the secret societies initially fought against Mao Zedong, against the Chinese Communist Party. But after Mao Zedong really went on an aggressive, very, very aggressive stand that went on until they conquered the whole of China, at that point, then they made a deal, and they even have a party. I think it's called the Z Party, which is the only party who has a minister in the Chinese government who is not a communist. So it's that they have this link, a very close link with the Chinese Communist Party, and so Benjamin Fulford, he admitted when he came to Rome that he was working full on with the Chinese Communist Party, and for me, when he said that, he was out of the picture.
You cut ties.
Miami.
Right, and Leo, we are coming to a close very soon here, but before we get there, we did have a few more things to talk about, and one of those has to do with
if you want to then see the details, the documents that I show of the membership of Benjamin Fulford and everything, just get volume 2 of my confessions. It's out on the CCCP Publishing from San Francisco actually published this book, and I suggest you all get it so you can know more about it.
Right. For those that are curious, you can go to Amazon, just search Leo Sagami, and you'll find this stuff there.
There is the other books, which especially Volume 4, which I think is very relevant at the moment regarding an American Renaissance, which is still possible, but also the links with the Jesuits and all the politics of today. And then I have also the latest edition, Volume 5, which tells the inside stories and with documents of where the actual Chinese virus comes from and so on.
Nice. So yes, Leo, I couldn't help but notice over the last few years, Leo, you've been quite interested in ufology. I mean, you even have gone to a number of related conferences. You also have gone to New Mexico, I believe.
Yeah, I was in Roswell. I became good friends with one of the curators of the Roswell Museum, Donald Schmidt.
Right, good guy.
And he's one of the biggest experts regarding Roswell. And at the same time, I arrived in the U.S. And I went through Nevada and through Basically, I sided what is Area 51 right from the start of my epic journey here in the US, driving by car along, then later on Route 66 the same summer. I also went down to Roswell, and I ended up making a very particular experience, which I think was unique, and it was also confirmed by Donald Schmidt being a unique experience. Why? Because we arrived in Roswell in the afternoon, went to sleep for a few hours because I was expected in Texas, in Austin, the day after for a live show with Alex Jones around 12, I think. So I didn't really calculate well the time differences. In the end, I had to. I delayed. I think I arrived a couple of hours even later than I was supposed to, but I managed to arrive, and it was an adventure because I had to leave around 2 o'clock at night, not sleeping that much. After I, of course, went to visit the Roswell Museum, I talked and interviewed my friend Donald Schmidt, who, as I said, is one of the curators, who is one of the guys who also published some very interesting books on the subject, and who I wanted to ask a few questions. But I never thought I would experience in the middle of the night what I experienced, because when I went out at 2 o'clock at night with my wife, suddenly we filmed, and unfortunately now we don't have the film anymore because it was on one of my channels that unfortunately was removed.
I don't think they could. I don't think you can upload pornography, by the way, Leo.
No, it wasn't that kind of video.
Oh, okay.
It was video.
Okay, I was just making sure.
It was a very serious video regarding 10 miles of a presidential with presidential cars, military and police. And at one point, after we filmed for a few miles, this long caravan of cars.
Nice.
The police made us move on the side. And then they continued, but we then carried on because we came out on the other side. Because you see, in Roswell, you go in one side and you come out the other when you go towards Texas, okay? Now, when I went out the other side, you kind of see in the distance the other main road. It's, of course, a few kilometers away because it's like two main roads. One goes in and one goes out, no? Okay, but... The incredible thing was that all those cars, all that line, that was inexplicable because nobody was hanging out. There was no justification for this sudden event that happened on the 2nd of July, on the 72 anniversary, exactly to the date of the crash on Roswell. And the 72 is a very important number, a holy number, a sacred number, of the various manifestation of God, but also of the demonic that can happen. 72 is a very, very important number. So on the date of the Roswell crash, I was there and I witnessed and I filmed this, and we actually broadcasted after on InfoWars. And what happened was rather shocking, because then the day after, as soon as I arrived in Austin, I called up Donald Schmidt, and I said, Donald, do you know what was happening last night in Roswell? What did I witness? Was the president or some politician or some big shot coming over to town? So he, of course, knows all the military there. He knows all the people. He started to make a series of phone calls, and he called me back after an hour. He said, Leo, nobody knows anything. It was top secret what you saw.
Wow.
Top secret. So I was like shocked.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty awesome that you got to see something out there.
Well, I saw it, and then I saw the same caravan of people in the fields where the crash is supposed to be later on when I was leaving the town. Because from a distance after, I saw all these cars going basically in the middle of a field.
Yes, and Leo, let me quickly ask you this.
It was shocking, and I'm glad that my wife was with me.
Yeah.
And on the same night, I had also another experience, because I woke up at 2 o'clock, at 1:30 to be able to leave at 2 o'clock. But I woke up with an absurd nightmare in which my wife was actually, she had to wake me up because I was like literally sweating and shouting, don't take me, don't take me. And I was literally being abducted in this dream. I know it sounds incredible, and plus I was at the motel, at the UFO crash-in motel. It might sound very funny, but the soul experience was definitely unusual than my experience in Roswell, as well as my experience along Area 51 in the middle of the night, because I ended up in Nevada 100 kilometers north of Las Vegas, 100 miles north of Las Vegas. I ended up in the middle of the night, lost, because
in the desert.
To the Paramp, where, as you know, Art Bell used to live, and where my friend, the Imperator of the Golden Dawn, who is the Grand Master of the Golden Dawn, David Griffin, lives, who had offered me to stay there for the night. And the experience also that I had over there was pretty fascinating. So, I mean, I must say that I had a series of experiences, and they all culminated with the fact that once I arrived here in Palm Springs, then there was Contact in the Desert, which, as you know, is the biggest UFO conference. I ended up then being guested by Jimmy Church and the guys from the History Channel on this radio show and stuff, with all those people from Ancient Aliens and stuff, and it was quite fascinating to meet all of them. But I didn't do it on purpose. It actually happened by chance, because I was coming to Palm Springs for a completely different reason.
Nice. Well, small world, and sometimes these things do happen. And Leo, I gotta ask you.
And I ended up doing my first small conference in the middle of the Contact in the Desert here in Yucca Valley. And I didn't really know very well the area at that time.
Yes.
But all this is actually, you can find it in the book of my wife, Christy Zagami. She has published 2 books, Volume 1 and Volume 2, of her own Confessions of an Illuminati Princess.
She's got a book too.
Yes, and Volume 2 actually has all these stories which I'm telling you about, which, of course, my wife witnessed directly. And she gives, of course, her own perspective, which is very interesting, because then you can have confirmation of what went on around me.
Yes, and Leo, where does this interest come from exactly? The interest in ufology. I know this wasn't there before, so how did you get interested in this, Leo?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. No, it's not a question. I have always had.
You've always been into it, okay.
Sorry?
I said you've always been into it then.
Always been into it, because I've been working with the OTO, with the Tifonian OTO, with Kenneth Grant, with people who were doing the esoteric side of things and in communication with entities from, I mean, if you are within certain groups, you are very much into that. If you think that I wrote an entire book, Invisible Master, about the connection between secret society and the alien phenomenon. The alien phenomenon actually was born within the Theosophical Society milieu. George Adamski was connected to the Theosophical Society. Maid Lane, whose document was later on published when it was 10 years ago by the FBI Vault, talking about extra-dimensional aliens. It was actually a document by the Borderline Research Science Institute, which is something that was created here in California, and they were all connected to the OTO, to Aleister Crowley's representative Jack Parsons and others that had a lodge, as you know, first in Hollywood, in Los Angeles, and then later on also in San Diego. And then, of course, they are still very much present here in California. In fact, I don't really go much to Masonic lodges, because they seem to have taken over the show here in California, the Satanists of the OTO and their acolytes. So I'm not really welcomed even in Masonic lodges. So I avoid probably these days going into lodges in California, because I sense that there is the wrong approach to this great tradition. Freemasonry was born Christian, but unfortunately was infiltrated and is now in the hands of a bunch of atheists and occultists and Satanists. So it's not the Freemasonry of of respectability of the founding fathers and of all the people who make the great America.
Now, Leo, I do want to thank you for being a part of the program. I don't want to take up too much of your time here, but it's been a fun conversation with you. And Leo, I want to leave you with the final word, and please feel free to plug anything you'd like before we cut you loose here.
Okay, I want to just say that you can find, of course, my articles on leozagami.com. You can find the links to my books on leozagami.com. And if, of course, you want to help me out with a donation, PayPal me/ZagamiLeo is my latest PayPal. I went through already 3 of them. This is my 4th one.
Number 4.
If you want to contribute, there is also Fundly. And thank you so much for having me on. I will continue, of course, to publish books and do my job in the next few years here from the United States of America. I'm very glad to be here.
Oh, yes.
We are also in a moment of history which is unprecedented. So it's also a moment of history where, yes, you are pushed to do your work as a researcher, but also you want to become a protagonist of these epic times that we are living. And so I'm also working very much in contact with a movement which I created in Italy, which is promoting the March on Rome and the takeover of the Vatican, the Occupy the Vatican, together with the Occupy the Vatican organization, but not the ones close to Soros, but the ones who are actually believers, who have created this great initiative a few years ago. And we are basically promoting this initiative for the 27th of October 2022. It's going to be, it's a proposal, of course. We don't know yet how many people will actually join. There is a lot of interest all over Italy. I have thousands of people that daily follow me on my Italian show. And it seems like the world will be changed for the better if Italians will finally realize the great evil that has taken over their country, that in 1946 was forced to become a republic by the Democrats in America, who fraudulently manipulated the pool system that was put in place to vote between the monarchy and the republic. And it was voted a republic because, as I said, there was of course, Eisenhower and Truman, they were in control of a system that gave them Italy, and Italy from there on became more and more a corrupt nation in the hands of Cosa Nostra, because, as you know, the CIA was helped by Lucky Luciano and company to re-enter Sicily and of course eliminate the fascists that had done the big mistake of allying with Adolf Hitler. But unfortunately, Italy was ruined. Italy as a country was ruined, and so I am still very happy to say that I'm involved in promoting this event, and that I hope that they will manage to march on Rome and liberate Italy and liberate the world by occupying the Vatican. And it's not a joke occupying the Vatican, as you can imagine. And it's not a joke, but I think it's a great possibility for the whole world. Because all the evil of the world at the moment is focused, it's actually taking place and is emanating from the Vatican and from the Jesuit headquarters in Borgo Santo Spirito. Once we take over the Vatican, we take over their secret archives, we take over this small monarchy in the middle of Italy that doesn't have really the rights to exist and to ruin the rest of the world, including Italy, because Italy now has just changed prime minister, but he's a Jesuit stooge, he's a Jesuit student who was part of an important Jesuit movement. The one before him was another Jesuit agent. I mean, Italy is in the hands of the Jesuits for a long time, and we have to free this country. To be able to free this country, for me, it's important to be here. If I was in Italy, I would be killed or arrested. By being here, I avoid this persecution, and I can talk freely, and I can invite Italians to take on this great enemy. Why the end of October 2022? Because it's 100-year anniversary from the original march on Rome by Benito Mussolini.
My goodness. Once again, Leo, it's been a pleasure to have you on here again. We will have to do this again in the near future, my friend.
Always, bro. It's always a pleasure. And now that we are here in California, always it's great because we are more or less working at the same time. So it's also pleasant to be, let's say, in the same kind of energy field, because each part of the day has a different energy, no?
That's right.
So we are here on the Pacific timeline, and it is good. And thank you so much for also letting me promote my books and my work. And now that I'm censored all over the place and increasingly censored, I'm risking to disappear for the English-speaking world. I was able only to, in the last few months, to keep on the Italian channels, because the Italians are building them for me all the time, and they are much more patient probably than the American audience. The censorship that we are having here is unprecedented. It's sad to see. I arrived here in the US, I have so many followers, so many subscribers, but unfortunately that's no more. And so I don't really know what we're going to do. But I hope once all this COVID crisis is over, I can start again going around the country for conferences, so I can meet people face to face without being blocked by some kind of social network.
No problem. Once again, Leo, thank you so much for being a part of the program. We will talk again soon.
Thank you.
You got it, brother. Take care. And there he goes. That was Mr. Leo Zagami. And now it's just you and me, Mike. I think
positively.
There he is. I wasn't sure if you were still alive there.
Yeah, well, I was listening, man. The guy's deep. He's
yeah,
deep.
Yeah, lots to say here tonight.
Yeah.
Pretty wild stuff.
I gotta be honest. I mean, it was hard kind of following him. He's got a real heavy accent, so I was trying to keep up with him. But what I heard, Michael, I mean, I'm not trying to take away any time here, but I can't quite figure him out.
We still got time. We still got time. Don't worry.
I can't quite understand. Like, I can't figure him out, like what the focus is that he's coming from, if there's any at all. He was pretty all over the place. UFOs, religion,
that's right,
politics, and I can't quite. I mean, can you? Am I missing something?
Well, that's what we do here, Mike.
Well,
we talk about these sort of subjects. Of course.
It's just a little
it's a little too much for you, huh?
It's just I can't pinpoint it,
Yeah, I think you said the same thing the first time he was here.
Did I really?
I think so.
He's a deep character. He really is.
Yeah, Leo's a good guy. Hopefully we could bring him back on again. It was a fun chat. And I'm sorry I didn't take all your phone calls this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We were getting lots of phone calls here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's for him, which is good. We like Leo a lot. We respect Leo. He has lots to say, and some things we don't completely agree with him on. Well, personally speaking, I don't agree with everything he says, but some things I do.
Can I ask you a question? What was your take on the whole breakdown of names when he was talking about reset, and the last part of the word set being the devil, and so
well, that's his interpretation of the events that are going on. Lots of people try to sort of line things up and try to make sense of them. That's kind of normal. Well, for me, listening to these folks for as many years as I have, lots of people do that. The mind believes what the mind wants to believe. Always remember that, folks.
It's very fascinating. That I was just I was trying to keep up with him, man. He's deep. He really is.
That's right. CM5891 is asking, how are you feeling tonight, Mike?
How am I feeling?
Yeah, he says you sound terrible.
Do I?
That's what he's saying. I don't know.
Sorry. Maybe I'm tired.
You tired?
It's been a rough couple of weeks. The weather's been just horrendous out here.
It's been pretty funky, huh?
Snow, like, every couple days and sometimes every morning.
Well, I mean, at least you're not Marilyn Manson.
Has anything developed?
I think so. I think I did see something just recently as of Friday. I believe Marilyn Manson is also facing investigation by the LA sheriffs.
For?
The allegation of domestic violence.
Okay, all right. So it's pretty much the same thing he was accused of before. Was that
pretty
sexual?
much? No, it's the same thing, but more women have come forward.
Brother.
I know, right? What a world that we do live in. But yes, Marilyn Manson, lots of trouble. Lots of trouble for our friend. Well, I wouldn't say he's our friend, but
The guy.
The guy, yeah, that guy.
The guy.
The devil guy. Yeah, that's also another thing I was kind of hoping you'd jump in there, since, we were talking lots about Satan. I was thinking, I was wondering where Mike was going to jump in there.
Oh, with all due respect, Michael, I really couldn't really step in.
I was really looking forward to hearing what he had to say to you.
I'm sorry, I just couldn't step in. He was going so fast.
Yeah, he's all gassed up, Mike. So, sometimes you can't stop him. You gotta let him go.
All gassed up, man.
All gassed up in there. It was good times, though. Lovely.
Yeah. Like I said, I just can't pinpoint where he's coming from.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot with Leo. You really have to listen to his early stories. That's when it gets even crazier, Mike. You haven't even heard anything yet.
Oh.
Hey, it gets wilder.
Did he have a radio show, or does he still?
Well, he was doing something online for a while. He had just a YouTube thing, but he was also, in his youth, a very popular DJ out there. Leo Young. Go ahead.
What I'm getting at is I almost feel like the last time you had him on, when I was on, was that he had a radio show and it got knocked off the air or something?
No, just a sort of stream online here. Like on YouTube, yeah. But he does come on InfoWars quite a bit.
Okay.
With the yelling guy.
With the yelling guy.
Yeah. I feel like you always forget who Alex Jones is.
It's the religious dude.
No, he's not religious. See what I mean? You already forgot. But don't worry, Mike. I will remind you. Don't worry. If only now, if I could find the clip of him.
I can't.
But now I don't have a funny clip to play you.
That's right.
But I guess that you're going to have to live with Ben Shapiro laughing. Oh, that's Ben Shapiro laughing there.
About as bad as I laugh.
You don't laugh that bad. Ben has a terrible laugh.
Does he?
Oh, yeah.
Will you shut up, man?
That was Joe Biden there. But yes, well, you know what? I was going to say something else here, but now we have a phone call that completely screwed me up. I had something else I was going to tell you about the issues with the gentleman in the UK, the PayPal issue that I had, Mike. I was going to talk to you about that. Some further developments, but now we have a phone call, so let's take this call before we have some fun here. Caller, how are you?
Hello, gentlemen. Fantastic show as usual.
You sound kind of low there. Are you away from your cell phone? Are you using an Obama phone?
That? Is that better?
There you go.
All right, yeah, I got to get a new phone. I think I'm gonna have to just get the iPhone 12 Pro Max, even though I don't want to. It seems like that's really my only option for the future.
Yeah, you got to get a new phone. It sounds like you are definitely on a Obama phone.
Obama phone.
Yes, it's a terrible phone, terrible quality. I don't know what's going on, but
the microphone probably got that like smegma from my beard. It just kind of crawled in there and it's just kind of living in there now.
Are you from Palm Springs?
I've been to Palm Springs. I've been to many times. Actually, Desert Hot Springs is very nice. Whitewater. If you ever go to Palm Springs, Desert Hot Springs, go to Whitewater. You can camp out there for free. It's beautiful, by the way.
Caller, we're gonna have to let you go. Your phone is just it's really making me angry.
You can't hear me at all. It's totally that bad.
It's really bad. You know, you're pissing me off.
You keep fading in and out.
All right, I'll fix my phone. I'll call next week because I got to tell you some stories about Leo.
Yeah, call me back because your phone it's just
call from a landline.
You're pissing me off.
I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry.
Yes, call from somewhere else. Yeah, I'm getting very angry here.
You know, I gotta say, I never have that problem because I'm always using my home telephone, which is still connected to the wall.
The landline.
With a cord connected to it.
Yeah, I mean, that phone was just fucked. You know, I couldn't really salvage that. And I did want to talk to that gentleman, though.
Yeah, he'll call back. Call back.
Yeah, call back, please.
Yeah, call back on a landline.
Yes, please call back. We would love to talk to you. It's just that phone was not good.
No, it wasn't.
No.
It was like he was in a submarine or something.
Yeah, it was just really hard. I don't think the listeners can hear that shit.
It made Michael angry.
Yeah, it fucking made me angry. I was gonna throw the fucking table over.
I got angry because Michael got angry.
That's right. There's a chain of events. A domino effect, yes. But yes, our boy Marilyn Manson, just to finish this up, and still in lots of hot water. We don't know what's going to happen with him, but we will find out soon enough. Marilyn Manson, I think he's guilty, Mike. I think he's done all kinds of crazy shit.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean,
I'm sure it's on video too.
I would.
I know so. No, it was on video. Rachel Wood, one of his ex-girlfriends of sorts, I believe she said she was videotaped. So I'm pretty sure he's has plenty of videotapes, Jeffrey Epstein style.
With consent.
Well, most likely. Well, I don't know. That's
the key.
That's the kicker there. We will find out.
Because let's face it, there's plenty of people who like film themselves doing sexual things.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
That's what sexting is.
That's right.
I'm hip.
Yeah, you're very hip into it.
I know what those words mean.
Right. So, Mike, as you know, our friend Rush Limbaugh dead and gone.
Yeah. Crazy.
I think I won Celebrity Death Pool with Larry King and our friend Rush Limbaugh, now dead in the ground.
Yep. Congratulations.
Yeah, he's gone.
Were you a fan of Rush Limbaugh?
To be honest with you, no, not the later Rush Limbaugh. I did like him early on when he was offensive and sort of like a piece of shit. But no, once he got older, I didn't really care. I thought he was fucking boring as shit. So no, not a fan. Too fucking boring. I don't listen to that fucking trash, Mike. It's too boring for me. How can I sit there and listen to these fucking conservatives on the radio? Give me a break.
Dude,
fucking
I'm totally
boring.
With you.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to conservative radio. Fuck you. Like I'm gonna waste my time. Sorry, I wasn't talking to you, Mike, like that. I was just
No, I know. I'm just saying I never listened to him. I mean, I kind of respect the guy, but at the same time I never really listened to him, so I wasn't a fan. And I really didn't even know who he was until probably maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago.
Yeah, his early stuff, though, obviously ahead of my time. I was able to listen back to when he was first getting started, when he was more offensive and, you know, doing that sort of shit. I like that. But not later. No, I don't give a fuck about hearing some older man crying about shit. Or anything like that. I just don't care for it. It's too boring. It's too fucking boring, man.
I think I was saying last time I was on, I was sick and tired of listening to Hannity.
It gets boring, man. I mean,
I'd like hear it.
I'm the same way. I like hearing it, but then after a while, it just gets so fucking boring.
I can take like the first monologue, the opening monologue of the show.
Yeah, like an hour and 30. I could handle that, no doubt. But it gets exhausting.
Yeah,
it gets exhausting.
Trying to get through it all. especially with him, he just repeats everything over and over again.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Hate to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's not good at all. He's definitely skilled. He's a great
he's great
broadcaster.
At what he does.
Yeah.
But I could hear the whole show in less than maybe a half an hour if it was crunched together.
If you listen to the
shit in it.
If you listen to the first 30 minutes, you already listened to the entire show.
Exactly. That's my point. You know, I'm sorry to say it, but you're right. He's got a good team. They do get facts, and I can appreciate that.
No doubt.
But come on, man.
It's so boring, though, man. How can you fucking listen to that shit? Day in and day out, it's just fucking boring. I mean, even the show could get fucking boring for some people, too, but I mean, conservative radio, that's just fucking dead. It's boring as shit. How can anyone sit there and listen to any conservative show on the radio, online, whatever it is? It's old relics of yesteryear. It's all fucking boring bullshit. And now the caller just hung up. He probably got offended with what I was saying. But whatever, man. I gotta be honest here. Let's be real for once here. Talk radio is fucking boring as shit. Especially the shows that are popular and that are moving the needle. You know, fuck all of that bullshit. It's so boring. Who's out there listening to this shit anyways?
I can answer that. I have to admit.
Who is it?
The one, me. I'm the one.
You're the one sitting there for hours listening to this shit?
No, wait, let me finish.
Go ahead, sorry.
Mark Levin is the only one I really enjoy listening to because there's no bullshit. There's no music going on. There's no, fancy commercials in between. He goes from the standard commercials, comes into his show, and he puts it on the line. There's no fucking fancy shit like, what's his name? Like you were saying, all these conservative talk shows. Yeah. They're all full of shit. Everybody's full of shit right now, Michael.
I agree.
Right? The whole fucking world is fucked.
Yeah. I'm afraid so. It's just the climate of radio. I'm looking at the scene and lots of the popular talk show hosts out there, the ones on the mainstream, those that are dominating the AM world, rather. These guys are boring, my friend. Just absolutely boring in every sense of the word. And now we have another caller. Let's see what they got to offer here. Caller, go ahead. Caller, and they hung up.
Have you offended?
I don't know. Well, I mean, if they're offended, they could just, step into their car and listen to the radio there. Listen to that.
Take that.
Yeah. Cares. But anyways, our friend died at the age of 70 years old. At the young, tender age of 70 years old, Mike.
That is rough, and I gotta say, 70 is the new 80 these days, so...
Kind of is.
It was shortened.
Yes, he did not die of COVID, by the way. It was of lung cancer, for those that are wondering.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Have you heard anything about the count of what we're up to with the Chinese virus? I also heard it's not popular to say that either.
I don't know, Mike. You're going to have to fill me in on that one. What happened?
Oh, I was just wondering if you knew what the count of the death count is.
Oh, no.
Saying
No.
COVID.
Mm-mm. I can imagine it's still pretty high.
I wonder, I mean, are they still doing that thing where they're, if somebody dies of, like you just said, like of lung cancer,
That's
are they
COVID.
Calling it COVID? I mean,
yeah, I'm pretty sure they still are.
That's crazy. I don't know. It just seems crazy. I know last we were over 400,000 dead, but are these people elderly? Are they mostly the elderly people? Because that's what I keep hearing.
Mostly older folks for sure still. But that doesn't mean healthy people can't be
of course.
fucked by it, yeah.
That's right, absolutely. I totally agree. But
numbers are dropping though in LA County, by the way, Mike.
Well, that's good.
That is the good news, though. They are dropping. That's something that you probably won't hear too much about, but COVID cases are dropping out here in LA County. Even though I'm not a part of LA County, but that's what's going down, Mike. The B117 variant, that's the UK strain, Mike.
That was my next question to you.
Yes, sir.
If you know anything about that one.
No, that's just a very, what's that word? No, I can't even think of the word. But
it's typical that this is happening because, I mean, we knew it was going to happen in the first place.
Yeah.
There's a strain that it's gonna mutate, and that's exactly what happened.
I said on the show here that it was already here in America way before they even announced it on the news. Yeah, I just had this strange, odd feeling that we possibly had these variants just sort of hiding around in the ether. And sure enough, Mike, yeah, that's what went on.
I don't know if I made remark of this last time I was on, but there was a show I was watching where they were talking about how with these these glaciers that are melting, that some of them might be withholding bacteria or viruses that have been captured over the billions of years or whatever, since the last major ice age, where all that water froze up and it kept certain bacteria and viruses trapped within the ice. And as they're melting, they're releasing them. It's a theory. I don't know if it's true, but
I think it's possible.
It's an interesting theory, and it's frightening as everything else in the world.
Yeah, I think it's more than possible. And Mike, what's going on with you out there in your town? If you know anything.
I'm just over winter, man. I'm over it. I hope it's like 90 degrees on tomorrow.
You need to move to Arizona. Just hot.
I'd like to go somewhere nice, but I'm stuck here for now.
You're kind of stuck there. Yeah. And don't worry, it'll get nicer out there soon enough, I think.
Yeah, we got like another month to go.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Spring. You'll be good. You'll be good.
It just keeps snowing like every other day.
That's right. It is snowing tremendously where you are. I think you said how many feet of snow did you have out there?
Initially, we got a little over 3 feet.
Jesus.
And then like 3 days later, it snowed another 6 inches. And then yesterday, I don't even know. I'm losing track. It snowed again like 2 days ago, or another 6 inches. It's going to snow, I think, Monday, Tuesday. I don't even know anymore. I just stay inside and paint all day long.
It's probably a better thing to do, Mike. Just paint and ignore the rest of the world.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Good for the sanity,
I turn on Star Trek in the background, the old Star Trek, and I let that play as I'm painting, and that's all I can do. And I talk to my bird.
I think that's much better than just watching the news.
Yeah, I won't. I can't. Not anymore. I can't. I overdosed on politics. I can't watch any more news.
So it's gone from your life now.
I have to back off. I think what I need to do for my own sanity, I can acknowledge it, but I can't put an effort into it anymore. I can't put trust into politics anymore.
And you put trust into it to begin with, Mike.
Early on, you did. For this, I'll tell you why. Laugh, whoever thinks I'm stupid, that's fine. But I really had a lot of faith in what I saw in the Republican Party, and I believed in what Donald Trump was doing because he wasn't a politician. If you want to crucify me for that, if anybody wants to criticize me for it, go right ahead. But this is how I see things.
Yeah, you know the number. Call in.
This is how I see it.
That's a joke, by the way.
And I think, I was so invested in thinking this man can make things good again, and what I want. And when I saw how things changed so rapidly, I sincerely believe, and I can't say it over the radio.
Right. Well, maybe you can. Go ahead.
You want me to say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you serious?
Sure.
Okay, I don't want to get you in trouble. Hope you tape the show.
Unless you think you're going to get me in trouble.
Say again?
I said, unless you think you're going to get me in trouble, then don't say it.
Well, didn't you get knocked off the air first?
Well, sure, sure, but unless, it's just that other group.
Oh, okay. Well, right. Okay. Well, what I'm saying is about the election.
Oh,
Am I on the right track, Michael?
No, you could say whatever you want about the election.
Okay,
fine.
so I sincerely believe that there was fraud in the election, and I sincerely believe that Donald Trump did win the election. Now, this kind of goes back to, what was it, 2000 when George Bush beat, what's his name, Fancy Pants, and there was this Gore, and there
Fancy
was this
Pants.
Fancy Pants, right?
I like that.
What a twerp. Anyway, when he lost, everybody was saying that Bush cheated. And there may very well have been cheating during that campaign. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. But this one I was, because there was more controversy in this president. There was more hatred every single day of his presidency, from the day he became president until the day they kicked him out of the White House.
I think it might have been just a little bit before he became president is when we saw that.
Indeed. You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm just saying, for every day that, because nobody thought he was going to be president.
I didn't think so, to be honest.
Right?
I've said that plenty of times.
A lot of people didn't think it.
Right.
So my point is, I invested in this because I saw there was such controversy in what was going on, because in my personal opinion, in common sense, I saw things working properly for the first time in this country in a long time. And facts do not lie. So when you invest in what you see and you believe, and then it's pulled out from underneath you, and after what Leo just went and explained about some of the similarities of what's taking place in our government and the underworld right now in our own effing country, how can I go back and listen to this this corpse who has taken the presidency and is going to run our country into the ground? Anybody who cannot see what the Democratic Party is doing is beyond me. And again, let me repeat 1,000 times, I am not a Republican.
Are you a communist?
I'm certainly not a Democrat either.
Are you a communist?
No, that's what I see happening.
What about a socialist? You dress in black. Are you a socialist?
No, I'm beatnik.
I tell people I'm not a communist even though I'm dressed this way. I'm dressed like Antifa.
I'm in the goth mafia.
Yeah, I'm always dressed like, if I'm Antifa, I'm dressed all in black, like I'm gonna rob you. I already look like I'm gonna rob you, so I look like I'm gonna. Yeah, I look like I sell coke, and I look like I might kill you.
You could be an artist.
Yeah, but mostly people are looking for cocaine.
What does that mean?
Well, I got that look. So, people were always wondering if I got it on me, and I'm like, no, I'm not holding on. But yeah, it's a good sort of look to have if you're at a bar, that's for sure. People are afraid of you. Well, at least of me, which they should be.
Out there, people that Michael influenced me to get the sunglasses that I wear these
Really?
days.
Did I do that?
I told you that
was
years
me.
ago.
I rubbed off on you there, huh?
Well, no, you had these retro sunglasses that you were wearing, and I found that, I was like, oh, I like that. So I went out and I got myself these, they're pilot glasses, but they got that 70s kind of look to it.
Nice, yes.
So, yeah, you actually inspired me to get them. I bought like 6 pairs.
Oh, shit. Yeah, those are if I'm thinking about the ones you're talking about, those are the very famous serial killer style sunglasses that all these serial killers back in the day used to wear.
Yeah, I guess that's why I like it so much. I don't know.
That's where I got the look from.
Serial killer influence.
Pretty much. Those are what I call them. Those are the John Wayne Gacy sunglasses.
Oh, is that what they're called?
Well, I call them that. The killer clown glasses. John Wayne Gacy.
I sort of see like a 70s influence in it. That's I really can't say it has anything to do with a serial killer, but
yeah,
I get where you're coming from.
That's where I got it from. But yes.
Who's the other guy? The Night Stalker, Ramirez.
Richard Ramirez,
Richard
yes.
Ramirez.
You know, I was going to ask you about Richard Ramirez. There was a new Netflix documentary on Richard Ramirez. You saw it already. Was it any good?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That guy was out of his mind. What a lunatic. What a messed up man.
Well, if you are a rapist and a kidnapper and a pedophile, then I would imagine that you are kind of fucked.
And a killer.
Right. He was a nice
mass killer.
He was a nice man, that Richard Ramirez. He just wanted to give you a hug.
With a knife.
With a knife, yeah. You know, that's still a nightmare for me, Mike. You know, that's one of my worst sort of scenarios, waking up with a knife pressed to my throat again.
Again?
Yeah. Long story.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You brought it up, brother.
Yeah, you know, knives in your throat, guns in your face, whatever. Normal.
Glasses on your nose.
Typical stuff, you know. You know, I had a gun pointed at me and I said, that's not the first time that's been in my face. You ain't scaring me.
Like Clint Eastwood? Wow.
It was some real Clint Eastwood. Yeah, I know. I said some real cowboy shit. Yeah, you know, I should be dead, Mike.
Wow.
That's
Look
right.
At you all like Chicano and stuff.
I wouldn't say that. I would say it's just being stupid. I wouldn't say that. Just being an idiot.
I thought you were in a gang or something.
No, I was just being an idiot. That's what that is.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, don't repeat any of those things, people. Don't act that way.
What? Can you say what happened?
Yes and no. Just lots of different things that have happened at one time or another in my life out here, yeah.
Wow. I'm shocked, Michael.
I know. Sometimes I can't believe some of these situations have sort of walked into myself. I've sort of waltzed in all kinds of funky situations, Mike. But unlike this 50-year-old tranny who joined college, I've never done anything like that, by the way. Yes, for those that don't know. Yes, for those that don't know, a transgendered woman, Gabrielle Ludwig, returned to college, the college court apparently. Somewhere in California this happened, Mike.
Okay.
Right. This athlete, we should say. Gabrielle Ludwig, 50 years old. 6'6", 230 pounds, Mike, playing in the all-women's league. Or division, rather.
Women's rights, man.
That's right. 6'6" is pretty goddamn tall, though. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
In this article, by the way, it says the most muscular person in the room. Great article by the.
Hi, I'm Jennifer.
Great article by the USA Today, USAtoday.com. Look it up. Right. Jesus. Yeah, what do you think about that, Mike? These transgendered athletes.
I have nothing against them personally, but I think when you start cutting body parts off, I think you might regret it. You know, you want to do it, it works out great, but I don't know. You want to be gay, go right ahead. Been doing it for millions of years.
I don't really see too much of an issue that much, but you know, when it comes to like combat sports, that's where I draw the line in that.
That too, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
you know, like boxing or MMA. One mixed martial arts fighter, you know, a woman who's transgendered, you know, they fought a biological woman. You know, she fought a biological man in that bout, and she got her head cracked, by the way.
Oh my gosh, wow.
So, I mean, is that really a fair? Yeah, see, even someone in the chat just mentioned it right now. A woman got her skull cracked by a MMA transgender. Yes, that's from Goy Goddess in the chat room.
I disagree with it wholeheartedly.
Yes, that person is referring to Fallon Fox, by the way, who is the name of the transgendered. They are now 45 years of age, and I'm not sure if they are still fighting, but Fallon Fox still a front runner for trans athletes out there. Great times. Only in America.
Uh-huh.
Only in America. And of course, Russia reporting the first case of H5N8 bird flu, Mike. So the bird flu's back.
What a world, what a world.
What a world, Mike. All these diseases, all these things going on. It's a lovely world, Mike.
On one hand, not to interrupt you, but on one hand, when Leo was talking about all the things he was talking about, one of the things that crossed my mind is if there were, and not that this makes any huge difference, but it did cross my mind, if he believes in anything that is going to save his soul or his life or his body from aliens. I mean, you know, like, is he religious? Is he a religious man? Do you know?
Religious, I believe so. I think he's a Christian now.
I'm sorry?
He's a Christian.
I was going to say he must be Catholic or at least Christian.
Was
something.
Catholic, yeah.
He is Italian. So.
He's converted.
Well, I mean, you know,
China.
As much. Pardon?
China.
Sorry, I just can't help it. I miss him. I miss Donald Trump. What can I say?
I like. That's a great sample. I love that one.
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole. Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
Do you miss Trump, by the way? I kind of do. I kind of miss him. I kind of miss him fighting with reporters and just fighting in general. It's been kind of boring without someone like him around.
Oh, don't worry. It's going to get better.
I hope so. I'm waiting for Biden to do something. You know, I'm hoping that he gets like a bunch of people killed or something. I'm waiting for something to happen, Mike. I'm getting bored as shit.
Yeah, give it time. Let him sign a few more executive orders. And eventually the world will begin to revert to its next stage.
I'm missing the chaos, you know. I want to see some disasters happen. What the fuck? Yeah, I'm getting bored here. What the fuck? Biden? Some boring shit going on here. I want to hear people getting trashed. I want to hear people getting buried. And none of this is happening. It's making me sad. Now I have to fight with people. Now I'm the one that has to go out and fight with people, like the guy I was telling you about on eBay. You know, the guy from the UK, the scammer.
Who's that?
Just some idiot in the UK that scammed me for something. And
oh, that guy, right?
That guy,
oh,
yes.
Okay, that was a personal thing, right?
It was very personal. You know, he left a little message saying "enjoy" with a little happy face. So you know,
what a
right. But don't worry, I'm getting my money back. Don't worry. It's already been arranged by PayPal, but I did leave him a nice little message, by the way, Mike. So when he opens it, he's gonna.
That guy. What was the name of that guy?
The name of the guy?
Yeah.
I believe his name was like Jace. I don't think I ever told you his name.
Okay, I'm just checking because I just got an order.
Was it from Jace? Just kidding.
No, I was checking. Yeah, I had an order from England, and I was just wondering if that was the guy.
It's not him. But yeah, I left him a little message. You know, I told him that I hope he catches what's going on, or going around, rather, out there in the UK. Yeah, I told him I hope you catch what's going around, and I hope a group of Muslims don't find you. It's also what I told him. For obvious reasons why I said that.
Any Chinese.
Right.
China.
China.
It sounds like he just sneezed. At China.
A huge number.
You are fake news.
I am the chosen one.
I love that.
I am the chosen one. I'm always in a good mood. I don't know what that is.
I want to know where that came from, by the way.
I'm always in a good mood. I don't know what that is.
He's always in a good mood, and he doesn't know what that is. Sometimes I feel the exact same way. Sometimes I don't know. why I'm in a good mood. But it's definitely not because of COVID. That does not make me happy at all. And speaking of COVID, by the way, there was another guy, South Carolina coach Frank Martin. Sports fans know who he is. He also tested positive for COVID-19 a second time, by the way.
Oh my!
Thank Jesus. Thank Jesus Christ for that.
Wow.
Thank baby Jesus.
Is that like a is that a first?
No, not a first. For him, it is.
There are people that have recaught it?
Yeah, I think people have caught it twice already.
Okay, I was unsure if that was, I didn't know if that was a rumor or not, because I heard it, but I didn't know if it was true.
No, you can definitely catch it again, Mike.
Okay.
Ain't that lovely?
Terrific.
That's right.
But does that mean anything significant, though?
Well, yeah. It means it could fuck you up longer in the end. It means it's sustaining your, when I say that, I mean, it's going to stay in your immune system.
So that's definitely what the case was, is that it reemerged in his body without him getting a second infection from someone?
That I don't know.
Okay, that's really the question.
Yeah, that part I don't know.
That's probably important.
Doesn't have anything on that in this article here. But a lot of guys don't like Frank Martin, by the way.
Why not?
I don't know. They say he's an asshole. Some people are saying, good. Hope he dies. I'm telling you, that's what some sports fans say. And you know how sports fans are, man. They're fucking brutal sometimes.
You think?
Yeah, man. Especially those Boston fans.
Wow. People use words too loosely these days.
Loosely?
Well, I mean, I shouldn't say just words, but I think words have been, and people calling people names and harmful things like that. It's like, it's really gotten out of hand. It's everywhere. Like, even in comedy, comedy's so rude and harsh. The whole world is just so angry. Don't you think?
Of course.
Everybody's pissed. I mean, I'm pissed.
I know, everyone's angry. Sometimes I am. Not always, though. It goes away from me really quickly, though. I think I could only be mad for about 2 minutes at tops.
I'm pissed because it's winter. I'm sick of it.
Well, you're an East Coaster, Mike. You're always going to be angry because the weather.
Yeah.
That's something that us in the West Coast, we will never understand. We've never had to live in that sort of climate, that sort of environment. We didn't have to walk around all fucking angry about.
No. Come on. There's plenty of people that have moved from the East Coast out to the West Coast.
Yeah,
in fact, that's what it was implanted.
Yeah, but we're not.
Definitely all came from the East Coast.
We're not built like you East Coasters, though, with the cold, is what I'm trying to say. You guys are out there not giving a fuck, walking around, and it's cold as shit. I can't do that, Mike. I'd be dying out there.
Michael, it was 27 degrees.
I can't do that. That's too cold. That's too cold.
Check this out. It was 27 degrees. I was driving back from an appointment I had, and I'm in the car, and as I'm driving down the road, I see this guy walking. He's wearing, get this, shorts, flip-flops, and a guinea tee.
Jesus.
And he's just chilling out, just walking, coming home from school, got his backpack on. I wanted to roll down the window like, what are you, an idiot?
He's from the Caucasus Mountains. That's why, Mike.
Yeah, he's from Russia.
That's where his people, right? That's where his people are from. So that weather ain't nothing. Ain't nothing for him. But I'm a desert rat, Mike. I'm gonna die if I'm out in the cold.
Yeah,
I can't handle it, brother. Can't handle it.
I would like to retire somewhere west. So,
you need to come out here in El Centro, Mike. It's calm. Nothing goes on out here.
You think the Mexican cartel could use somebody like me?
I think they could. They would love someone like you. You'd be out there beheading people and talking about the Santa Muerta. You'd be talking about all these crazy religious shit. These death cults that the Mexican cartel are all part of. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd love you.
I'll put in an application when I move out there.
Yeah, they'd like you out there for sure. And of course,
oh my God.
By the way, Mike, before we sort of close down here, there's just a few more things to discuss, but I did come across this thing with Ghislaine Maxwell, who revealed the late Jeffrey Epstein had secret videotapes of President Trump and President Bill Clinton. That's what's being reported right now. It was also reported by TMZ.
And who has those tapes right now?
I believe someone, former CBS producer, has those. Well, they don't have those tapes, but that's the person who found out about the existence of these tapes. There's a producer by the name of Ira Rosen.
I can't speak about Clinton, but I can say this for Trump, since he wasn't a politician at the time, when they were shot, which I'm assuming was before his presidency. It still doesn't make him a bad president. Sorry.
Well, they have videotapes, and I don't know what's on those videotapes, but it's probably not good.
Yeah, well, like I said, even if it's bad, I mean, it didn't affect his presidency.
That it didn't.
I mean, if he had sex with a young girl who was underage,
yeah, during his presidency,
we're talking a different story.
Yeah, but nothing of that sort happened when he was in office, obviously, but I'm sure all these things obviously happened a long time ago, from what I can imagine. And you do recall that photograph, that portrait of Bill Clinton in the Oval Office wearing Monica Lewinsky's dress. Do you remember that painting?
I do not. I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a painting of Bill, by the way, dressed in her blue dress. And this was inside of Jeffrey Epstein's condo in New York City. I want that painting now. That's kind of cool.
That's pretty messed up.
That's right. Exactly. Why wouldn't you want a painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress hanging in your living room somewhere? With red heels, by the way. Red high heels, Mike.
Fascinating.
And you know what what I'm suspecting probably did happen, Mike? Bill Clinton probably did wear her dress at one time and put on her high heels. Because Bill's a freak.
Super freak.
If he put a cigar in her pussy, then I'm sure he cross-dressed a time or two. Yeah, come on. Bill Clinton, you don't think he's a freak?
You always need a cigar holder.
Right, well, exactly.
Oh, it's messed up.
Here, hold this for me, sweetie. Open your legs. Amazing.
Oh, that's terrible.
It really is. It really is. My God, Mike. Well, I wish we could go longer, but we are coming to a close here, Mike.
Yes, we are, sir.
I feel sad.
Been a good one.
I feel sad because, we didn't get a chance to talk about Courtney Love.
Oh.
She's back.
Is she?
Mm-hmm. She's back on the prowl. We'll talk about her later, though. Yeah, we'll talk about Courtney Love later. And on another show, we'll handle the strangeness that is Courtney Love and Jesus Christ. Why didn't she catch COVID this year?
Poor Courtney.
Oh yes, I'm sure many men feel that way about her. Oh well, yes, Mike. Well, once again, I do want to thank you, Mike, for being a part of the program. It's been a very fun show, a very educational show, a show for the family of sorts.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's definitely entertaining.
Family fun time, yeah.
I know, I was stoned.
Were you really?
No, I don't do that sort of thing.
Oh my God, no wonder. Now I know why. Now we all know why.
Why?
Because you were self-medicated on this episode. Wow, Mike.
No.
I can't believe it.
I don't do that.
We're going to have to drug test you after this show.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to submit a urine sample after this show here.
I have one. Wait, it's right here. I was hanging on to it.
Okay, just ship that in.
Okay.
Very nice. Well, we'll take out your social credit score. Keep a record of that.
Ziploc bag, is that okay?
That works too. So, Mike, once again, I do want to thank you for being a part of the program. It's been a absolute pleasure to have you here. I love when you are on the program. We have these fantastic discussions that only you and I can have, because some people are, some people I try to have these sort of talks with them, some of the guests, and some of them are just too pussy to have these talks. That was offensive, wasn't it?
You are the man.
Using the pussy word. I mean, it's better than using the word cunt, right? It's my favorite word.
Oh, bro.
I know. I'm sorry. I'll behave next time.
Come on, bro.
I know, bro. Brother. You sound like Hulk Hogan, brother. Come on, brother. So, Mike, once again, love you very much, Mike, and I'll talk to you on the other side, my friend.
All right. Thanks, guys. Had a great night. Talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Take care.
Yep.
Mahalo. And there he goes, boys and girls, the one and only Mr. Mike Hideous. And CM5891 says, Melissa is very drunk. Go to sleep, sister. Yes. Go to sleep. If you have been drinking during this program, and I'm sure a lot of you have, or whatever gimmicks that you like to do when this program is on. Some people like to drink. Some people like to fornicate during the program. I don't know why, but it's happened. Some people like to smoke. Some people like to do psychedelics when the show's on. It's really up to you out there, but I really do appreciate all of you out there who come on in and hang out during the chat. I mean, hang out during the show in the chat, I mean. Really appreciate that. And of course, those of you who listen to the replay, love that. You guys don't have to worry about technical difficulties at all. Those of you who listen to the podcast rendition, lucky you. How spoiled you are out there. But yes, I do invite all of you out there that listen to the podcast version to jump in during the live show and to have a chat with your fellow listeners, really. And me. Sometimes I will interact with you in the chat room. Goy says, I want to call in. Maybe next time. Yes. Next time would be the right time to call in. And don't be shy. Don't be shy. Call in. Don't be afraid of me, Mike, or the guest. Who cares? Just call in. We will have a good time. And that's the way it works. The other cider says, I drank last night. Well, that's no excuse. The other cider, you should have drank tonight. Not sure why you did not take advantage of the glorious sounds of this program and my euphonious tones. It's always a win-win here on the Michael Decon program. And of course, you can find this program and all podcast renditions out there on the podcast platforms out there. Yes, the podcast rendition can be heard by searching Michael Decon. And yes, Goy, okay, I am not shy. I'm glad you're not shy. Call in next time. Definitely do that. Now, boys and girls, it has been a pleasure talking to all of you tonight. But I'm looking at the time, and yes, it's time to wrap it up. Like you should always do before you fornicate, wrap it up. You don't want a child during all this, during this pandemic nonsense. You know, it's not good to raise a child right now. I would advise against it. Don't do it. Be smart. Wrap it up. Be wise. And with that said, the world is a mysterious place, and life itself is a mystery. Until next time, mahalo.